Guys, yes, it is week 4 for fantasy football. It's kicking off tonight, recording this Thursday morning. So if anything crazy happens on Thursday night, you're watching this Friday, Saturday, whatever, cut me some slack, all right? But we have the top 24 for every single position. We have must-start studs, those guys that I want in the lineup. I want them in DFS, things like that. And we have matchup infos, best matchups, worst matchups, things like that. Let's begin here with the wide receiver position. Okay, so the best matchups this week, we have the Packers at Dallas. So maybe we get a little bit of a Matthew Golden breakout. We have the Chargers at the Giants. We're going to talk a lot about Ladd and those receivers today. We have the Raiders versus Chicago, so I actually think Bowers might have a good day. I know he's a tight end, I fully understand, but for pass-catching purposes, he's doing a lot of wide receiver things. Jacoby Myers right back in the lineup. Trey Tucker could be a flex. And then we have the Bears at Las Vegas, and we will talk about Caleb a bit later, because as you guys know, he's my guy. He's my guy. So yes, Rome Odunze should dominate. Again, DJ Moore's probably a good flex play, and I'm looking at Luther Burden, seeing what he does. I do want him stashed. The worst wide receiver matchups this week, guys. Steelers versus Minnesota. So DK Metcalf this is not what we wanted here. Cardinals versus Seattle. Again, not good for Marvin. With that being said, though, Trey McBride, we will talk about him, has a great matchup versus Seattle. Patriots versus Carolina. Now, that's actually one that is just because a lot of the times teams are just running over Carolina on the ground. So the wide receivers and QBs don't do too much. Now, if Carolina can be competitive, that could be a nice matchup for the Pats wide receivers. That one is kind of has an asterisk, okay? And then Cowboys versus Green Bay. You don't want to be playing Green Bay if you're a QB or a wide receiver, okay? Now, we'll get into the top 24 rankings here. Again, all, top 300 on the week is available. I don't know why Trey Benson's picture was up there. My apologies. All of my rankings, every position, top 300 is available in the Discord. Join down below. I post my weekly rankings. I answer your trade questions. I optimize your lineups. I do everything for you. You just ask me, okay, in the Discord, in the No Expert FF Discord. So join, link down below. We do have some promos going on, some discounts on the Dub Club too. So get in there. Now, the top 24 wide receivers for this week, I put out a tweet that Puka Nacua and Amon-Ra St. Brown. There are no other wide receivers I want over these guys. You can go back and forth who's wide receiver 1 rest of season. I guess I lean Puka, but then again, Amon-Ra St. Brown does not have a Devontae Adams in the picture. So tier 1 is top 7. Puka Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, JSN tonight, Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins at 5, Malik Neighbors at 6, even in the first start, and then Jamar Chase at number 7. I still have him in that elite tier 1. If he's not making it happen this week, we'll move him down. We get into number 8, tier 2, it goes right into Rome Odunze. So Rome should be ranked top 8, top 10, basically every single week until we see differently, okay? 7+ targets in every game. He had 11 targets in week 2, only had 3 catches in week 3, but 15.2 fantasy points, got in the end zone, over 20 yards per catch. He's the clear alpha in this offense. Another good matchup here. Gets the bye week 5, so he's going to be a trade target if the team is losing that has him. You can go get him. At number 9, we have Garrett Wilson. I want to talk a little bit about him. I think he's a bit of a sell high, but then again, he's probably a top 15 guy, top 12 guy rest of season. I had a bold prediction. He finishes top 6. He's on pace to do so. Actually, he's wide receiver 10, but he's overperforming, I should say. This week gets Miami. Should be a good matchup, but I think they might just run Miami over on the ground. We will see. But then again, 10 targets last week. His best game was with Tyrod Taylor. His worst game was with Justin Fields. His middle game was also with Justin Fields in week 1. So it's like, even though that was a good one week 1, he is kind of a sell high. I would get Rome, any of these other guys on the list, even though this is just weekly rankings. I prefer them rest of season. I prefer Adams rest of season over Garrett Wilson. Adams is actually underperforming right now, which is insane because he's a top 13 wide receiver. So we shall see. Let's go into wide receiver 11. We have Emeka Egbuka with no Mike Evans. Chris Godwin maybe plays, doesn't matter. Drake London at 12. I'm going to need to see something from Drake London this week, or he's going to be in this A.J. Brown territory of a mid-range wide receiver 2. At 13, Cortland Sutton, 14, George Pickens, 15, Tetaroa McMillan. We have to monitor the McMillan injury. I do think if he plays, he's obviously a great start, going to see 8 targets. I'm not too worried about Christian Gonzalez in his first start. I mean, it's kind of a 50-50 who gets the edge there, right? I'm not too worried. They're probably going to be down to New England, at New England, so I very much enjoy Tet here if he plays. You really have to watch the calf injuries, though. 16, A.J. Brown. He was force-fed targets last week. I don't expect it to happen again, but whatever. Speaking of force-feeding targets, Chris Olave at 17. Pretty sure he's leading the league in targets and just puts up 50 yards every week. But for PPR, absolutely a wide receiver, too. Absolutely. If he gets in the end zone, he's finishing top 12, basically guaranteed. Deebo Samuel with most likely no. Terry McLaurin comes in at 18. And Ladd McConkey is at 19 over Keenan Allen at 20. 21, Tyreek Hill. 22, Brian Thomas. 23, Jacoby Myers. 24, Zay Flowers. Now, the reason Ladd McConkey there comes in at 19 over Allen is because he is the wide receiver must-start stud of the week. I'm getting bench questions. I'm getting all sort of questions. Get rid of him. Dare I say drop him in some 8-team leagues, things like that? Absolutely not. With that being said, if it does not happen this week, if we see Ladd come out and do nothing, we have issues, okay? At the Giants are allowing the second most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers this year. Credit to Fantasy Pros for that. And McConkey has an 84 matchup score according to RotoViz, which I think I still have this tab pulled up somewhere. I do. 84 matchup score here for Ladd McConkey, the best among every single wide receiver that you can have. Luther Burden's up there, of course. Keenan Allen also up there, JSN. But yes, an 84 matchup rating. Versus the Giants, he crushes in the slot. The Giants stink in the slot. He's going to play the slot. We got to be all over Ladd McConkey, okay? So, this should be the week. Now, let's go ahead and move into the QBs, man. And I will just say, we got about 4 names until we talk about Caleb Williams, but let's go through the matchups first. Now, the best matchup. Easiest matchups: Jordan Love at Dallas, Justin Fields at Miami, Geno Smith versus Chicago, Carson Wentz versus Pittsburgh. Wentz is an intriguing streamer, to be honest. The worst QB matchups, the hardest. Now, Drake May makes the list, but it's not because Carolina's defense is so good. It's because you don't have to pass on them. Like, Carolina is allowing not a lot of fantasy points to quarterbacks technically because they're just getting run over. So it's an asterisk with May. It's a good matchup, honestly. Dak Prescott versus Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers versus Minnesota. And Jaden Daniels if he plays. Mariota was a fun streamer last week. It's not going to be that way. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to take a quick moment here. Okay, sorry. We just had a text come through. Obviously, I'm constantly in the trade office. I got to do a lot of things at once here. We are workshopping a Chuba Hubbard for Tetaroa McMillan trade. So, if that opportunity to accept that in my inbox came across my screen, I was going to do so, but it didn't. Now, I'm going to lock back into the video now. So as I was saying, Marcus Mariota was a nice little stream last week. Against Atlanta, if Jaden Daniels can't go, we're off that. If Jaden Daniels can go, I'll tell you where I have him ranked. Let's get into the top 24 QBs. Jaden Daniels comes in at number 11, but let's start from the top. We have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Now, you could go ahead and put Caleb Williams at 3, but I won't do that because I'm responsible. Jalen Hurts at 3. He needs to be in the top 4 regardless. Honestly, top 3. That top 3, Allen, Jackson, Hurts, in whatever order you want. I really don't see that changing for a while. Justin Herbert at 4. Caleb Williams comes in at 5. Let's begin the discussion. I've been waiting weeks to discuss him. So yes, so this is my number 1 player in fantasy. Check all the videos. This is the number 1 player I wanted on my team in every single draft. He is my guy. For the QB position, I had 1 each. For the other positions, it was Trey McBride, Chase Brown, unfortunately, and Cortland Sutton. So McBride's doing great, Sutton pretty good, and Chase Brown, obviously, with the Burrow injury, is flopping, which, whatever. Sucks. Sorry about that. I digress. Caleb Williams, QB1 in Week 3, played Dallas. That's cool. But in Week 1, 24 fantasy points against Minnesota, who's looking like the best defense in football other than Green Bay. 5 turnovers Minnesota had in Week 3. So I'm not worried about any matchup, really, for Caleb. And then we get him at Las Vegas. So, yeah, let's go. Patrick Mahomes at 6. Drake May at 7, guys. Jordan Love at 8. Bo Nix at 9. I'm still believing in Bo Nix. We have Baker Mayfield at 10. You could probably swap Mayfield and Nix. Mentioned Daniels at 11. I have Daniel Jones at 12. If you have Daniel Jones, I'm trying to sell him, honestly. I don't think this is going to last. Jared Goff at 13, Kyler Murray at 14, Brock Purdy at 15, Justin Fields at 16. If he's active, fully ready to go, he's got to be in your lineup. Dak Prescott's downgraded all the way to 17 with no CeeDee Lamb. Matthew Stafford at 18, Geno Smith at 19 against the Bears. It's a great matchup for him. He's streamable. Bryce Young at 20, 21 Sam Darnold, 22 CJ Stroud, yuck. 23 Tua, yuck. 24 Michael Penix, yuck. Now, the must-start stud, we talked about him. It is Caleb Williams. I only want 4 QBs ahead of him this week, if even Herbert, honestly. Once you get, Allen, Jackson, Hurts, you can discuss Williams right away. The Raiders are allowing 18-plus fantasy points per game to opposing QBs. He ranks QB3 right now behind only Allen and Jackson. And the thing that's important to me is 5-plus rush attempts in every single game. We're actually seeing designed rushes. From Caleb Williams, from Ben Johnson for Caleb Williams, which is great. Let's move into the tight end position. So the easiest matchups this week, some interesting names. Trey McBride versus Seattle tonight. TJ Hawkinson versus Pittsburgh. The Dolphins tight end, I don't even know who it is. Maybe it's Darren Waller, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. First the Jets. And then we have Harold Fannin and David Njoku at Detroit. Is this the week Fannin gets in the end zone? Who knows? Good streamer, though. The worst tight end matchups, the hardest matchups. Zach Ertz at Atlanta. Jawan Johnson at Buffalo. I don't think it matters, though. Mark Andrews at KC. He should be traded from your team if you have him. Sell high. Cade Otton versus Philly. And we will get into the top 24 here among tight ends. Now, Brock Bowers at 1, Trey McBride at 2. This is how it's going to be basically forever, unless number 3, who we will talk about, spoiler alert, in a minute, creeps into that top 2, which is Jake Ferguson. Tyler Warren comes in at 4. I think he's a nice buy low. 5-plus targets in every game, averaging 7 per game. First double-digit score of the season last week at Tennessee, but they were just cooking Tennessee. Against the Rams, they're going to need Warren to win, get open, command the ball, and I think he will do just that. Trade for Warren, okay? Tucker Kraft comes in at 5. Then we have Jawan Johnson at 6, and I'm like a Jawan Johnson hater, honestly. I feel like every year he has a big game, right? And then, nothing much. But these target totals are pretty heinous. I won't lie to you. This is pretty insane. We're averaging 9-plus targets per game. Most wide receivers who average that mark finish wide receiver 1s. So this is pretty insane. Over 11 fantasy points every single game. It's basically like Olave at your tight end position. So yeah, he's number 6 for me. Hunter Henry at 7, Sam Laporte at 8, Dalton Kincaid 9. Those guys are all in a similar tier. I'm fine starting them, but they're a little risky. We get into the streamers. Brenton Strange, TJ Hawkinson's a great stream. You can start him this week. Travis Kelce all the way down at 12. It's looking washed. We have Mark Andrews, Chikakonkwo, and then Harold Fannin and David Njoku back-to-back at 15, 16. Actually think they can definitely be streamed. Zach Ertz at 17, Kyle Pitts at 18. Oronde Gadsden had 7 targets on like 30% of snaps. He comes in at 19, and he did that in week 3. Dallas Goedert 20, Jonnu Smith 21, 22 Cade Otton, 23 Dalton Schultz, 24 Jake Tongs. But yeah, then again, we don't really care about these guys all the way down at tight end 24. Now the must-start stud is Jake Ferguson. It's obvious you're starting him, but even if you have Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft, Johnson, Ferg is in the lineup. He's my tight end 3. He is first in team opportunity share among tight ends, first in expected fantasy points among tight ends, second in target share among tight ends. But his fantasy points over expected, guys, are 6th worst. So according to RotoViz, he's actually underperforming right now as the best tight end in fantasy, averaging 15 points. Insane. And CeeDee Lamb is out now. He hasn't even been out for, he's only been out for half a game. So he's only going to get better. He really could be challenging these guys, Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. Let's get into my favorite position. You guys know how I am with my RBs. The best matchups this week, Chiefs running backs versus Baltimore. Whoever it is, I feel like you can start Pacheco. I feel like you can start Hunt if you have to. J.K. Dobbins versus Cincinnati, he should absolutely crush. Nick Chubb versus Tennessee. Could that mean Woody Marks versus Tennessee? Maybe. Marion Hampton versus the Giants, he will be ranked very highly. We will discuss him. The worst RB matchups, the hardest matchups, Jonathan Taylor versus the Rams. I think we're going to sell high. I think you should sell high for a McCaffrey, Bijan, Jameer. Those 3 for Taylor. Same thing with Cook. Speaking of Bijan, bad matchup versus Washington. I'm not concerned. Cam Scatterbo versus LAC. Not a great matchup. Darts first start. They've got to be cautious. And then Jahmyr Gibbs and Monty versus Cleveland. I don't really care, though. I do not think we're going to have a Packers versus Cleveland scenario here at all. I think the Lions go in and dominate. Now, my top running back of this week is Christian McCaffrey at number 1, James Cook at number 2, Jahmyr Gibbs at number 3. I'm not worried about the matchup. Jonathan Taylor at 4, also not really worried about the matchup, but I would sell high for one of these top 3 players rest of season. Okay, Bijan and McCaffrey and Gibbs. Speaking of Bijan, he's number 5, Saquon at 6. That top 6, I mean, you can really order that top 6 any way you want. So if you're pissed that Barkley is at number 6, he's your running back 1, go ahead and put him at 1. I don't care. I'm not bothered. We move on to Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, Devon Achane, and yes, Omarion Hampton cracks the top 10 because I'm looking at 26 opportunities last week, guys, for 25 PPR points. I think it might just be only the beginning here for Hampton. He really could be challenging like for top 3, top 5 at the position. In this offense, MVP candidate. Obviously, they're passing a lot, but they're scoring a lot. A lot of opportunities. We have 7 targets for Hampton. I'm very excited about Hampton in this matchup. It's going to be pretty insane at the Giants. Derrick Henry at 11, Kyren Williams. I've ranted about Henry in both videos previous to this one this week. Kyren Williams at 12. Genty at 13, you're still starting him, not in the RB1 range anymore, high-end RB2. Breece Hall at 14, Trey Benson at 15. Yes, guys, Trey Benson, I'm expecting about 20 opportunities. I'm expecting about 70 rush yards. And if he falls in the end zone, probably looking at 20 points, so he is high on the rankings. Chuba Hubbard at 16, very slept on. I mean, just a guy who's probably going to give you 15-plus, 16-plus opportunities. Fine matchup versus the Pats. I know some people are trying to make it out like that's a hard one. I don't think so. Ted McMillan's banged up. All sorts of things. Jordan Mason at 17, not seeing as much pass down work as we wanted, but if he's scoring, getting in the end zone, playing Pittsburgh, that's a good thing. Travis Etienne at 18, just a mid-range RB2 with high-end RB1 ceiling. Same thing goes for Javonte, but the offense is downgraded a bit. Alvin Kamara at 20. It's just like I haven't seen it yet. Quinshon Judkins at 21. I really want to put him higher up here where Trey Benson is and things like that, but the matchups are tough. Jaylen Warren at 22. I know the underlying utilization is good. I know he's producing, but I'm just not sold yet. Something about the Arthur Smith offense, I'm totally fine just ranking Warren in RB2 range. With that being said, there's a lot of good running backs like Cam Skattebo and Chase Brown. We talked about Skattebo, how I don't really want to start him, but he's a good running back all the way at 23. Chase Brown, same thing. I know he's going through the worst right now and he's awful and can't move the ball in this, but guys, he's going to see 15 opportunities. I just can't put him any higher than RB24 where he's ranking. Now, the RB must-start stud this week, we have a good one. It's Breece Hall at Miami. The Dolphins are giving up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing running backs this year. I have Breece Hall all the way up at number 14. His best game of the year came with Fields at QB. Fields is back. Breece is accounting for 32% team opportunities so far this season, which is more than James Cook, Derrick Henry, Ashton Genty, and Omarion Hampton. There's the final look at the RBs, ladies and gentlemen, and that's going to do it for the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Good luck in week 4. Let's get after it. Why not us? Goodbye.